I had been saved out of darkness and I was into drugs and alcohol. And when the Lord came and rescued me, my whole life was changed. So I knew that this very message needed to get out to others because the way the Lord helped me out. My name is Jose Mendoza, and my ministry is called Glorious Harvest Outreach Ministry. And back in 2001 is when I got a vision in Peru from the Lord, and been traveling to Peru since then. So I made 27 trips to Peru. And so the ministry has mainly been about evangelism, preaching the gospel, and also raising up others to preach the gospel. So we do some teaching and training in that area. So we get the churches involved. And so we've had some really good connections with a lot of pastors that come in and do training on evangelism so they can carry the work and actually reach their own people with the gospel. So that has been very, very successful. And we built a lot of good relationships in those years. It was a natural thing that just flowed out of me that when somebody does something for you, you just want to come back and return your love towards them, right? And so that, I think the motivating factor is what he has done for me. But why Peru? Well, in 2001, I actually went there by invitation. And when I went there, we were in Cusco, Peru, which is one of the oldest cities it's inhabited today. And when I was there, the Lord gave me a vision. And in that vision is when I was basically witnessing to one person. And before I knew it, out in the streets, another 30 people surrounded this one guy as I'm talking to him. And half of them got saved at that very moment. And the Lord gave me a vision. He says, "You're coming back to start a work here." And I didn't really know and understand what that meant at the time. But the first thing the Lord said to me, he says, "Oh, get to know pastors, build relationships." And that's what I did. And in that, opened the doors to come into the churches and work with them because we got to know each other. They trusted me and I trusted them. And that was, Peru was really, the Lord giving me the vision there. Otherwise, I probably would have ended it there. First Nations people, that was another divine time where I was at a church speaking on missions and First Nations. And a lady from Terrace happened to be there. Her second time being there, my first time being at this church speaking. And after hearing my testimony about reaching the First Nations, she said, "Would you guys bring your ministry to Terrace?" And a month later, there we were. She introduced us to all these connections. We started having meetings, and the next thing you know, 3 years later, we're still living there, and God is doing amazing things. So it's all really from the Lord. And I even asked him, I said, "Lord, how do I know this is really you?" And the Lord just confirmed that just with testimonies over there of how God made these divine connections over there. And I couldn't have done it myself. So it was like the Lord saying, "Hey, I'm confirming that you're in the right place." For the last 3 years, we've been actually focused in First Nations people up north. So we're reaching them with the gospel. We're going on the reserves right now. We made some very good connections with some strong First Nations believers, and they've been very instrumental in helping us to connect with others. And so we're, for the last 3 years now, we've gone onto a number of reservations and did some teaching and training, and they just love the teaching, and so they've asked us to continue to come back and help them with this area. And now we're actually working with a boat ministry that we just started in the last month. We did our first boat ministry up north, and we went on some reserves and brought some Bibles, brought some Christian literature. And first thing they said after we finished praying with them and talking to them, getting to know them, they say, "Please come back. We need help with teaching. We need help with pastors because we don't have any." So it's been very good. So we're actually headed up again in another week. So it's been like doors are wide open for us. And so we've been well received because we're coming in to really come and assist and help them with the message of the gospel. Well, ICMS has benefited our ministry in a lot of ways. Number one, it has helped us to maintain integrity with the funds that we have and to show accountability. So when people hear about the ministry, that it's a bona fide ministry, they're more excited to give because they know that it's legitimate and that we are, accountable to others who, for the funds that are given to us. And so more people give towards that. And so that's been very helpful for us. working with Gary Jansen has been a tremendous blessing because we've known each other for many years. And so he's actually traveled to Peru a few times with me. So we've had some really good times, and he knows some of the work that's been going on. I'm waiting for him to come up north to the First Nations people, but that time will come. But for the most time, it's just that our relationship has been just flourishing ever since we connected, and it's just been growing and growing fruitfully between us, and we become very good friends. So having his connection and being part of this ministry has been a tremendous blessing, because I know knowing him and the trustworthiness of the ministry as well has been a tremendous benefit for us. Just through one lady coming up to us at a restaurant, trying to sell us some pictures, that she had done herself, and being an artist and all that. So we looked at them and said, oh, that's really good. But because we were having lunch, we told her, we said, can we meet you at 4 o'clock at our hotel, and then we can look at your pictures and then have more time to look at everything that you have. And she said, oh yeah, no problem. So at 4 o'clock, she showed up at the hotel. But when she came, she was crying. And I said, you okay? She says, I have to tell you, she says, I didn't really paint these pictures. And I feel so bad that I told you guys this. Right there, just like her heart was already repentant in a sense. So that means she was ready. So I began to share the gospel. Well, she got saved at that very moment. She introduced me to her husband got saved. Then introduced me to her kids got saved. And then she says, please come to my house and share this with my parents. So, and relatives. So 13 people have gotten saved in her whole household in a 2-3 year span, just from that one incident, right? But the neat thing was that they wanted to talk to her dad for the longest time, but because he was always working and gone out of town, we could never touch base with him. But she kept insisting, please, as soon as he saw him, you need to come. I said, finally, we were able to go there. And I went by myself, and he said, I've been waiting to talk to you because my daughter has told me all about you, and I've seen their lives change, and I've been waiting for this moment. Well, he actually, right that night, got saved. 6 months later, he passed away. So when I see that kind of stuff, it's how the Lord just works and just does. And that was a whole family coming into the kingdom. That was, to me, a tremendous blessing. And that just motivated me to say, I got to keep going, because this message is changing lives, changing households, completely destinies for the Lord.